were in the mix of applying for this job, you didn't know it was a reality show, and then like what, it was kind of simultaneous, like you got the job and by the way, we want to film it? Or did you actually work there first for like a year or something, or it all kind of happened
No,
at the same
it
time?
was the same path. I didn't know. I had never worked at camp before. So yeah, I went in blind. I didn't know anyone. I wasn't even exactly sure what I was going to be doing, but I was like, oh, I'm going to wing it.
And did you go to camp growing up,
I
or
did, yeah.
you
I
did?
actually, I grew up in Texas outside of Houston until I was like 14, maybe 15. Um,
Okay.
and so it was like a big thing. There was this huge camp in Arkansas called Camp Ozark. And like everyone from Houston went to this camp. And I remember my best friend went the year before me and she got back and I was like, 7 or 8 and was like, I have to go to this camp and like begged my parents for a year. And the next year, my sister and I both went back. And then we
That's
went,
so
the
funny.
rest was history.
Was that a big part of the interview process too? Or like they didn't really care if you were like a camp person or?
No, they did because, you were doing like super manual labor outside and living in like camp conditions. And it was important for them to know, like, you can handle this, it's not, it's very different. Like you're going to be on TV, but there's no glam squad. There's no like, you have time to get ready. Like on any given day, we had like 5 or 6 minutes to get into our next costume. And I'm not joking. Like it was wild.
Wow.
They had to make sure that you like understood what camp was and like kind of what you were signing up for.
Wow. And did you meet like David or Claire like through the interview process, or no, like after you were hired?
Yeah, not until we did like an orientation with them. So I didn't meet them until orientation. I knew about them, like it described how the camp was set up and who my bosses would be and all that good stuff, but I didn't know anything about them until I got there.
And you didn't know like any of the other people on the show now?
No, I didn't know anyone.
And then like, cause I know where it is in relationship to New York, but isn't that far from Boston?
It's far. It's like, depend on who's driving. If Monica was driving, Monica's the other cast member from Boston. She somehow managed to get there in like 3 hours. It usually took me 4 plus. I don't know.
That's a long time just for like every weekend. I mean, I think it's bad enough. I like go to the Hamptons on the weekends, and getting
Yeah,
out there is a pain in the ass, but it's
I
not
know.
4 hours. It's 3 hours sometimes.
You know what the difference is though? And I mean, I've only been to the Hamptons once, so you would know way better than me. This drive, you don't sit in traffic at all. Like you're straight driving, right? So it's kind of like cathartic. Like I would just use that time to like call friends. I'd listen to podcasts. I'd be like on these like back roads, beautiful back roads in the country in Connecticut that like I didn't even know existed, to be honest. So it wasn't a bad drive, and it was like the end of my week, so like I could finish up work calls or whatever. You get used to it when you do something that many times. So
Yeah, I guess if you have like a lot of work calls and, to your point, you're listening to the Behind the Velvet Rope podcast,
every time.
then it doesn't really matter. It's a quick drive, but that's true. It just sounds like I'm like 4 hours. Oh my
I
God.
I know. I got used to it. I feel like I used to like black out and I'd wake up and I'd be at camp because the drive would like went by that quickly.
So what was harder when you first started working there? Was it like, I mean, were the cameras there right away, or was it like your first 2 weekends, or no, it was like right away you were on camera?
Right away, kind of like thrown in. And I definitely think, there's 2 episodes out now. I've seen the first 2 episodes. I'm barely in the first 2 episodes. I'm like looking at tweets and people keep being like, who is this blonde girl? Which I'm like, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But I was so nervous around the cameras the first 2 weekends. Like I was super quiet. I didn't really like stick my neck out anywhere. I just kind of like was trying to wrap my head around things and like get a little more comfortable. And I think it took me until after the second weekend to be like, okay, I get this. I know what's going on. I know, like, I get how this works. So I finally start to kind of open up after this
So,
episode.
so you like purposely avoided the cameras the first 2 times?
I don't know if I purposely avoided them, but I didn't go out of my way to like get involved in anything, if that makes sense.
That
Like
makes sense.
I was so busy, we're working for the camp. We're not, when we get there, like we're not working. We don't work for Bravo. We don't work for the production company. We work for Camp Getaway. So there's so much to do at all times that I was just trying to wrap my head around, like, okay, where am I supposed to be? Like silly things, like you don't carry a phone, right? So all day, I'd be like, the first 2 weekends, I didn't have a watch. I was like, what time is it? Like, where am I supposed to be? This camp is 300 acres. Like, it was like that kind of stuff.